Yeah, as an active manager, your bar you're trying to cross has always been the S&P 500, for many years. And, as I said in the article, most managers, something like 80 or 90% long term, depending on what you look at, have failed to be able to cross that bar. So after their fees, they failed to outperform the S&P 500. So for a very long time, that was your goal, as an active manager, was to beat the S&P 500. But one of the things that academic research has shown is there were ways you could do that using factors. And so, for instance, if you had a value tilt to your portfolio, or if you bought value stocks, and you held them through the ups and downs, you could beat the S&P 500 over the long term. If you used momentum, you could beat the S&P 500 over the long term. So these were factors, that have been discovered by academics that allow you to basically generate an excess return over the S&P 500. And so what I'm talking about in the article is the fact that those factors have now been discovered and those factors are now widely available. Well, that raises the bar for anybody in the active management industry. So for instance, now if I want to use a simple exposure to value, I can go find something from BlackRock, something from Vanguard that gets me that exposure for maybe, say, 10 basis points. Mm-hmm. So now as an active manager, just buying cheap stocks and using a simple exposure to value is not going to work for me anymore, because I'm not going to be able to justify, my 1% fee or my 80 basis point fee or whatever it is, based on doing something that, you can now get from Vanguard for 10 basis points. And so that's what I was getting at in the article is, now it's more difficult to be an active manager, because not only do you have to beat the S&P 500, but you have to beat these factors that have been discovered and are now widely available and cheap.